the landmarks of Ethiopia's foreign policy and diplomacy. Here we deal about the Ethiopian foreign policy and diplomacy. Stay tuned. Foreign policy and diplomacy have been shaped by its historical legacy of state survival and robust statehood. It is considered one of the oldest polities in the world, with a rich history of engaging with various cultures and civilizations. This historical context has influenced the country's approach to foreign relations over time. 1. Long history of state survival. Ethiopia's foreign policy and diplomacy are rooted in its long history of maintaining its statehood and sovereignty. The country has a tradition of resisting external threats and preserving its independence, which has allowed it to establish itself as a unique and enduring entity on the African continent and in the global arena. 2. Robust statehood. Ethiopia's strong statehood has been a defining characteristic of its foreign relations. The country's ability to interact with other cultures and civilizations demonstrates its resilience and capacity to adapt to changing international dynamics. This has enabled Ethiopia to navigate complex geopolitical environments and assert its presence on the world stage. 3. Different periods of foreign relations. Throughout history, Ethiopia's foreign policy has experienced various phases, including periods of active engagement and times of isolation through a closed-door policy. Active engagement. At certain points in history, Ethiopia actively engaged with other countries and international actors. This could involve forming alliances, participating in regional initiatives, or promoting cultural exchanges. Active engagement reflects Ethiopia's willingness to participate in global affairs and contribute to shaping international relations. Closed-door policy. In contrast, there were periods when Ethiopia pursued a closed-door policy, limiting its interactions with external actors and focusing on internal matters. This approach may have been driven by concerns over external threats, domestic priorities, or the desire to maintain a sense of independence. A closed-door policy reflects Ethiopia's strategic decisions to protect its interests and sovereignty during times of uncertainty. The complexities of Ethiopia's interactions with the outside world. Here we focus on the challenges the country has faced and how it has preserved its independence through skillful diplomacy and determination in the face of foreign adversaries. 1. Uneven contacts with the outside world. Ethiopia's history is marked by periods of conflict and tension with foreign powers that have harbored adversarial intentions towards the country. These challenges have often disrupted Ethiopia's relations with the international community and posed threats to its sovereignty and independence. 2. Bitter diplomatic and military campaigns. Ethiopia has engaged in bitter diplomatic and military campaigns against foreign powers at various points in history. These campaigns were often driven by the need to defend the country's interests, assert its sovereignty, and protect its territorial integrity from external threats. Ethiopia's willingness to confront adversaries through both diplomatic negotiations and military actions demonstrates its commitment to safeguarding its independence. 3. Survival as an independent state. Despite facing external pressures and conflicts, Ethiopia has managed to maintain its status as an independent state with pride and prestige. This resilience can be attributed to the key factors. Skillful use of diplomacy. Ethiopian leaders have employed diplomacy as a strategic tool to navigate complex international relations, forge alliances, and protect the country's interests. Through diplomatic negotiations, treaties, and engagement with the global community, Ethiopia has managed to secure its place on the world stage and advance its national interests. People's determination in the face of adversaries. The Ethiopian people have shown remarkable determination and resilience in defending their country against foreign adversaries. Whether through military resistance, social mobilization, or cultural expressions of national identity, the Ethiopian population has played a significant role in safeguarding the country's independence and pride.
Ethiopia's diplomatic relations with the outside world, from the ancient Oxum civilization and the medieval periods. One ancient Oxum civilization, the ancient Oxum civilization, was a powerful empire that stood as one of the foot-top empires in the world alongside the Persians, Chinese, and Roman empires. The Axumites conducted extended diplomatic relations with the outside world through the Red Sea and Nile Valley trade routes. Their contacts were primarily commercial in nature, and the empire's rise was attributed to its dominance over the Red Sea trade and the inland trade routes between the Nile and Red Sea regions. 2. Medieval diplomatic relations. During the medieval period, Ethiopian kings continued to engage in diplomatic relations with European countries, focusing on military and technical cooperation. For example, King Dawit established an embassy in Venice, Italy in 1402, and negotiated military and technical aid agreements with European counterparts. Successive kings of the medieval period also maintained diplomatic ties with European states like Portugal and the Ottoman Empire, leading to various military and commercial exchanges. 3. Diplomacy with European countries. The interactions between Ethiopian kings and European states during the medieval period reflected a strategic focus on enhancing military capabilities and fostering economic partnerships. These diplomatic relations allowed Ethiopia to access advanced military technologies and expertise from European powers, strengthening its defensive capabilities and expanding its trade networks. The examples of exemplary diplomacy in Ethiopian history offer valuable insights into the strategic decisions and diplomatic engagements of the country's rulers throughout different historical periods. Let's see some. 1. Queen Hindik II. Known as a diplomatic queen, Hindik II successfully reversed Eskender's expansion into East Africa through strategic negotiations and possibly alliances with neighboring states. Her diplomatic skills played a crucial role in maintaining Ethiopia's territorial integrity and regional stability. 2. Aksum civilization. The Axumites' diplomatic relations with ancient civilizations such as the Greeks, Romans, and Chinese were crucial for establishing trade networks, cultural exchanges, and political alliances. These interactions enriched Aksum's economic prosperity and cultural heritage. 3. Refugee diplomacy. Ethiopia's acceptance and diplomatic negotiations regarding refugees demonstrate the country's commitment to humanitarian values and its ability to navigate complex migration issues through diplomatic channels. 4. Zagul dynasty. The diplomatic relations of the Zagul dynasty with Egypt, the Middle East, and the Arab world highlight Ethiopia's engagement with neighboring regions and its efforts to maintain diplomatic ties for mutual benefit. The Zagul dynasty's neutrality during the Crusade War exemplifies effective diplomacy in navigating regional conflicts.